Ro, can I get you to come right to the back of the couch here? And that really is because I'm OCD. I'm thinking about the rest of the massage. It really didn't matter that she was at the end of the couch, but there you go. All right, we're going to talk about abdominal massage here, and we're going to do abdominal massage. So I've got Ro on the couch here, but before we start, I want to think about what support you think she might need if we're going to do an abdominal massage. Okay, so Hazel just said she might need support under her lower back. I like the way you're thinking because you're thinking the lower back might need support.
Yeah.
We also want to open the rib cage.
Okay, well how do we normally work, what's the best way to work on muscles, when they're relaxed or when they're stretched?
Relaxed.
Right, so do we want to extend or do we want to have a little bit of flexion? Good, so we want a little bit of flexion, okay? We want a little bit of flexion in the trunk. Could somebody bring me the skeleton over? We want a little bit of flexion in the trunk so everything's softer. And we also want to make sure that their lower back is supported. You're absolutely right. I'm just going to challenge how we could do that. So, what we're looking at really is how much space there is between the person's lower back and the couch. What kinds of things is going to make difference to that? So for anybody watching this video, the reason that there's a little bit of tittering behind it is that we have...
Biting his nails.
Thank you guys. So what do we need to think? Why would somebody's lower back need support? What sort of situations might it need support? Ah, now that's interesting. Where's the kyphosis going to be? Dislocated his jaw. Where's the kyphosis going to be? Okay, so they might have kyphotic thoracic spine, which might throw the whole thing out. But what actually is going to create loss of support in the lower back? You're on the right track. A lordotic spine, an exacerbated lordotic spine. But so remember, this is a natural curve. It has a natural kyphosis and lordosis and slight kyphosis there. But if it's exaggerated, that means that somebody's got like a, we call it a duck's arse, don't we? Sorry, but that's what we, where the bottom really sticks out like that. Now somebody like that, can you try and do that for me? Imagine, like, somebody like that is going to be kind of really uncomfortable on the couch lying flat like that. How might we flatten the spine? Hang on a minute. How might we flatten the spine? Yeah. Thank you so much, Ro. So one way to flatten the spine and give it more support, lift your knees up, is to pop something under the knees. Now, in reality, if somebody has a real problem with the lower back, is that going to be enough? No. Keep going. Is that going to be enough?
Maybe.
She's going to tell us when her back feels really flat. Now, she's got a pretty flat back anyway, hasn't she? But let's try another one. Is that going to be enough? Possibly. Now it feels supported. Okay. So when we talk about using supports, very often we're not using anything like enough support if you really want to flatten the back. Not a problem for you. You were right with one, I'm guessing. Yeah? Okay, let's take those away. But think about that. So you might want in your clinic space a lot more supports than just one pillow. Which are your towels? Great. It's going to be the usual draping. So you'll have the lower towel and you'll have the upper towel coming across the body. So we're going to kind of imagine that she's just got a bra on underneath there. I always like to tuck towels around, make them feel nice and comfortable. And we're going to now expose this area. But before we expose the area, let's have a little chat about this area. What do we know about the abdominal area?
Digestive system.
Yeah, so you've done the digestive system, so you know there's an awful lot going on in there, don't you? So what have we got in this space here? What's in here?
Intestines.
So we've got the intestines.
Stomach.
We've got, where's the stomach? Stomach sits, actually, it's just at the end of it, coming on the left-hand side. Sorry, I'm doing the wrong side. But it goes round to the left, but it's actually really quite high up here. But if you're just feeling this is called the epigastric area, just feel in here and notice how tender it is. So we're not going to be doing a lot of prodding and poking in there, okay? Right in there, under the sternum, in here, under the xiphoid process, you'll feel in there it's actually quite tender. So we need to watch that. So what we've got filling this space here is quite a lot of we've got all the intestine. And we also have, do you remember what the large intestine's called?
Colon.
The colon. Okay. So we've got the small intestine, the large intestine. What else have we got at the back? Kidneys. Okay. Where's the liver? Under what? Under the ribs. Where's the spleen? The other side, under the ribs. So what do we know about the ribs? What do?
Protect.
They definitely protect, and we know from yesterday they also are very involved in the breathing process. So we've got lots of protection here in the rib cage. We've also got lots of protection in the pelvis. We've got lots of protection for your womb, for your bladder. But we've got this whole open space here, haven't we? Why do we have this whole open space?
Flexibility.
For huge flexibility, so we can really move around with our trunk, can't we? What position would you automatically get yourself into if somebody was to come at you with a knife from the front? What would you do? Absolutely. So we have this natural protective way about this area here, because we know how vulnerable it is. Do we know how vulnerable it is with our emotions as well? Where do most of us feel our emotions? What happens if there's something upsetting going on? Where do you feel it? Tends to be in this kind of solar plexus area. A lot of us get real kind of digestive issues, things like that. This is a very vulnerable area. What protects this area? Muscles. What muscles? Okay, so we've got the rectus abdominis, which goes from here to here. Yes? What else have we got? What's the one that goes deepest? Like underneath everything else? Thank you. Transverse abdominis. The transverse abdominis attaches all the way around the spine, comes all the way around to the front. So that's like a real kind of circle of muscle that comes all the way around. Okay? So that's the deepest. Then what have you got? Internal obliques, external obliques, and then the rectus abdominis. So you've got this amazing 4 layers of muscle protecting this area. Anybody want to notice what happens when you kind of crunch down and just feel, and then just come to the side and feel what's in there? Good. So we've got muscles in there and we're going to work on those. So what do you think we can do with an abdominal massage? What's going to be useful in abdominal massage? What are we working on? Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
On the muscles.
So we could work on the muscles. Couldn't we?
Yes.
We could work on any, to really help with the muscles. What else are we going to be working on?
Direction of the digestive system.
So we could also be working on the digestive system. So we could actually consider, with our massage, to work around the colon to help with the direction of feces through the colon. Do you remember what that muscular action is, that squeezing and longitudinal, circular, smooth muscle action? What's it called? Peristalsis. So what we could do is we could work in the direction of the bowel to help that move through. What do you think that's going to be helpful for? What do you think that's going? What condition do you think that might be helpful for?
Constipation.
Constipation. Okay, and any digestive issue as well. So we've covered that there's an awful lot we can do. There's a lot more we can do. And Simon's going to remind me if there was anything else I mentioned last time.
Did you mention emotions? You've already mentioned emotions, haven't you?
I'm going to go back to the emotions, but because the most important thing is that this, I think, this area, it's where we are at our most vulnerable. You cannot approach this area of somebody's body without a great degree of sensitivity to that. If you look at the energy centers in the body, if any of you are interested in that, we're dealing with the solar plexus, which is the emotional center. We're dealing with the sacral chakra, which is all about how you express your sexuality. Okay? We're not going to go down to the root chakra, but we're dealing with real energetic and emotional centers here, where people are at their most vulnerable. So how we approach it? With a great deal of sensitivity and awareness. We're also going to approach it with the idea that where we take our attention is where our massage is going to be focused. So we can look at working on the muscles, fine, and we've got 4 layers of muscles there, or we can look at working on the digestive system and helping that. This area, if you get this right, it is one of the best areas to help someone with the parasympathetic, with really allowing them to relax. Imagine the trust that somebody needs. Imagine how much they now have to trust you because of that area is so vulnerable. So if you create that relationship, that trust with your client, then there's an awful lot you can do. Okay, so let's stop there. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to just go straight into lifting the towel. I'm going to actually make a connection with her stuff. My hands are cold, so I'm just going to try and warm them up. And then I'm going to be aware that I'm coming into that vulnerable energy field of the person, and I'm going to bring my hands down nice and slowly. There are 2 places I like to bring my hands down. One is in the solar plexus area, and one is in that sacral chakra area. You may have no interest in energy centers whatsoever. You might have lots of interest, so I can't cover it all. But the other place that I might well bring my hands together is literally to cup more or less around where the navel is, because that's quite nice too. Alright. Is that an involuntary twitch? Can you twitch? Your hand just twitch.
Oh. On the toes. Really?
I'm just going to say this in case. A lot of the work I do is myofascial work, and people sometimes start unwinding quite involuntarily and twitching. I'm only going to say that because if it happens, we'll just stop videoing and we'll do something else, okay? Okay. You all right? Okay. So I'll try stop to make sure that doesn't happen. So then we're going to just take the towel up. She's got her t-shirt on, so I'm just going to take her t-shirt up. Can I just take that? So you need to expose enough of the tummy. Okay. So there was another question. When would you not do abdominal massage? Okay, so in the first trimester of pregnancy, and when somebody is having a period, you might want to go lightly around the stomach. You know, if you think about what you can do for yourself when you've got a period, so you know, you like rubbing your tummy. I like rubbing my tummy if I've got a period. So, you know, rubbing your tummy is fine, but you're not going to do the deep, deep work. Some people have said about the possibility of causing endometriosis. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that that's possible. But you certainly wouldn't want to do really deep, deep abdominal massage. The other thing we learned yesterday, do you remember when we learned about the cardiovascular system? What was the condition that we didn't want to work deep in the abdomen with? Do you remember? It was towards the end of the day. Hey?
Asthma?
No, it wasn't asthma.
Aneurysm?
Well, you certainly would have to be very careful with an aneurysm, which is a bulge in the wall of the blood vessel. We were actually looking at hypertension, and it said about not to work deep, really deep into the abdomen. And I said that's probably because of the aorta, okay? So again, I'm going to bring my hands really slowly. I've oiled them, they are cold. And then, having made that connection, center yourself, drop your center of gravity. And a lot of the effleurage strokes are really what you've already done. I'm going to show you this lovely circling. So with the circling, you keep one hand on, one hand stays on, and the other hand just comes up and over. I really like that. These are just effleurage strokes now. You can also do your ringing. So at this stage, I'm still just getting her used to my touch. There's nothing deep in here. I'm going over the ribs as well. So working on the ribs, you can easily do pulling strokes and really work through the ribs nicely. Helen? You know the pulling strokes we did round the other way, where you can grab around the ilium, and you can really take your fingers around the edge of the ilium and get the attachment of the muscles there. So I'm going to show you a lot from this side, but obviously you can do all of these from the other side. So nice pulling through. You all right with that? Now, you can work on the different types of muscles. Bring your head forward for me. That's it. Can you see here is the rectus abdominis? See this lovely six-pack she's got? It's called a six-pack because of the lines of tendinous sheath through. She hasn't got a six-pack. Come head forward a bit. Can you see the edges there of the rectus abdominis? Come back down. So you can bring your fingers and thumbs around that muscle and actually just literally rock that muscle. You okay with that? Everything you're going to do with the abdominal massage, you okay?
Mm-hmm. What does that feel like? Is that unusual? Yeah,
It's
a
unusual.
little bit, but it's okay.
It's okay. It's it's lovely.
No, that's like, it's
In there, well, yeah, okay. So she might have some stuff going on. And you can work around the attachments of the other muscles. I'm not going to go too much in there. So you can work muscularly, or you can begin to think about the digestive system. So if I'm going to want to work in the direction of the waste products through the digestion, I'm going to actually start with that right iliac fossa, aren't I? Isn't that where the colon starts? Is that right? Is everybody clear about that? It's also where the appendix is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the line of the colon. Now what you need to do is just allow your fingers, just watch what happens. Allow your fingers to, if she brings her head up, of course the muscles are engaged, so it's not quite so helpful, thank you, right? But we're going to sink in, and you need to give yourself time to sink in there. But actually I'm going to sink in, and I'm going to work around there. She's actually got lovely tummy muscles, abdominal muscles, so her abdominal wall, the muscular wall here, is quite firm. Obviously with different clients it varies tremendously. So I've just gone all the way around the colon, right? If I'm going to work more on the digestive system, I'm going to keep doing that. Another way to work on the digestive system is to do vibrational work, and you can teach your clients to do this for themselves. So you're actually coming in and really vibrating around the colon. It's not always very pleasant. Don't like that, do you? But if you had an issue with your digestive system, it might be quite useful. Okay? Shall we go back to the nice stuff? Shall we? Okay. So all of the lovely petrissage movements that you already know, you can use lots of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to show you the other side, so you can kind of work it out for yourself that you can turn around and do it.
How's your pressure, Sarah? Is it light?
It wasn't always, was it?
Because you wouldn't want to go too like,
You can go very deep. If you feel in your own tummy, you can feel right down to your backbone. Tonight, in when you're in bed or something, just bring your knees right up and just feel in your own tummies. I think that's a really good thing to do. Feel in your own tummies all the structures that you can, get down to. And you can feel the aorta as well. You can feel the pumping of the aorta. Right now, I'm using a reinforced thumb. I'm using that because I'm just using that one area to go deeper, aren't I? I'm just going gradually deeper and deeper just to feel what's there. Anybody know the name of the deep hip flexors that are right deep into the abdominal area?
Is it the one that is there?
No, that's quadratus lumborum I think you're referring to. I'm talking about the one that comes in here. And the iliacus and the psoas muscles, I'll give you a clue. Yeah. Iliopsoas, the iliacus and the psoas, it's spelled Psoas. The reason I mention those is because, when you get into more advanced massage, you're actually going to work on those muscles, and you have to go underneath the rectus abdominis to reach in there. You okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it now because it actually takes quite a bit of time to sink into that level, but basically we can sink. You okay?
Yeah.
And eventually you will feel, if you continue to do that, I'm going to come out. Anytime you go in and out, you go in and out nice and slowly, but eventually you're going to actually feel onto that muscle here. So that, that's how deep you can go.
Would it help to lift the knees?
Yeah, I would normally, if I was working on somebody's psoas, I would bring one leg up if I'm working on that side and go right in. My nails are too long to actually do it, you can see that. So if you're working ways like that, you really have to have very short nails and much more awareness. So yeah, you can go right in underneath all of the muscles that are there and work in that way, okay? And there's all sorts of ways of doing that. I'm just telling you because it's quite important that you know how important this whole area is. And if somebody has a problem with their lower back, then actually the psoas area is a very important place to work. Okay? So coming back out to something rather pleasant, because she likes that. Nice. You can do lots of effleurage. You can work around the ribs. lots of that. And as I say, you can move around the other side. There was another question about the diaphragm. Yes?
You mentioned about breathing.
Mentioned about, so we talked yesterday about breathing and the fact that you can learn different ways to work within here to work on the diaphragm itself, but it's a little bit more specialised. But anything you do that moves, you can do your rocking as well. If you've already had a go at rocking, what technique might you not want to use here? So here's some nice rocking on the rib cage, hey?
Percussion.
Yeah, percussion doesn't quite feel like it would fit. I'm not even going to try it. It doesn't really feel like it's going to work in there. But a lot of what you've already learned, would you please try? And would you please try with your circling around the colon? Yeah? And, you know, try also, this is part of your training, is to try and get to those different depths. So if you can feel the edges of that rectus abdominis, see if you can feel the oblique muscles. You know, really try to get a sense of what's under your fingers. And a lot of that is going to be putting your hands on and using your intention. Okay, you know, I want to go now into her colon. So, okay, let's let my fingers sink now into the colon. There you go. All right? All right? Always with a lot of awareness. And a lot of the time, picking up, squeezing all around the tissue. She hasn't got a lot of spare flesh. Ro hasn't got a lot of spare flesh here, it's lovely. But, you know, a lot of people have a lot more flesh that you can play around with. So, and it's actually really nice. Okay, so I'm going to finish in as nice a way as I started. And there's probably one more thing I've forgotten. Two more things I've forgotten.
Well, you mentioned in the last one, you went all the way around to the spine, the pull up through.
Yeah. The reason I don't really show this is because it can be a little bit of a strain on your back. Did I mention that last time? So be cautious of your own back. So if you've got somebody quite heavy, don't bother. But what you can do is come all the way round, and now my fingers are either side of her spine, and I'm going to pull all the way through, and that's quite nice, isn't it? Did you quite like that? Now, if that's too much for you of a twist and you feel like that's too much of a pull through, what you can do is get your fingers all the way around and pull through. Or you can get your fingers all the way under, get both lots of fingers under, and now I'm working on the erectors from underneath and just pulling through. It's not really abdominal massage, but hey. And there's one other thing that I showed apparently the last group, and I probably had a lot more time, is an Ayurvedic technique that I learned. So with this, again it's with awareness. I'm going to start with one finger, just pressing gently into that umbilicus area. And then I'm going to circle around the stomach. One finger, two fingers, three fingers, four fingers, whole hand. Four fingers. It's a nice way to finish. Three fingers. Two fingers. One finger. Thank you for reminding me of that one, because it's a really lovely. Okay. Notice how long I'm staying there. Okay. Okay, I'll be friends. Okay, thank you. And then you just replace the towel. Let's just stop that. Just